Why, hello, everyone. Welcome to Joleen's Happy Time Craftcast. It is wonderful to welcome you here on this Wednesday. Thank you so much for being here. It's weather, right? That we have to talk about. Like, I'm a lady of a particular age, and I feel like I just can't start my day until I have a good, solid complaint about the weather. And today's complaint is that I am absolutely melting. If you can see me right now, you can probably see I have like fog on the interior side of my glasses because it's hot. It is so hot. And for those of you who live hot all the time, I don't know how you do it. Like, I am a Minnesota woman, born and raised, and like 66 degrees is about it for me. Anything north of that, I don't want to participate. All right. So if you see me shiny, that's not additional glow makeup. That's as Tamara said, it's the way you know that I'm not AI. I'm authentic and I'm very warm. So thank you for listening to that complaint. Let's go ahead and talk about something a little bit more pleasant and exciting, which would be today's guest. She is a returner, and I'm very excited to have her back on the show, Tamara Kelly. She is the creative force behind Moogly, the beloved crochet blog that's packed with patterns, tutorials, yarny goodness for makers of all skill levels. And I think I said it the last time she was here, I have been following the Moogly blog for probably 10 years, I would say. And Tamara walked past me at a conference, and I completely had like a fangirl moment, and I called her over and I was like, oh, I know you. I did a crochet along, and love the blog, love her. And I'm so excited that she's back here on the podcast. And we've got other fun collaborations that are coming up that we'll tell you about. So she is a designer, author, global teacher. She shares her passion of crochet through fun and fabulous designs, squishies. I mean, home goods, you name it, she can design it. And here she is, Tamara Kelly.
Thank you so much for having me, Joleen. It's such a pleasure to be back with you. And I hear you. This Midwest weather.
I know, right? Just
downvote.
Boo. No, thank you. I would rather be cold. So I
Right?
did tell you, right, that when I saw you at that conference and you walked by me and I saw your name tag, I was like, oh my God. I was like so excited. Do you get that a lot? Are there a lot of us who are like, oh, there she is?
Only thankfully, and I'm so grateful is actually that it really genuinely only happens at like, yarn related events.
Yeah.
Sometimes like on the way, I'll spot somebody else crocheting and they'll be like, is it
Yeah,
her?
they'll
And I'm
double
like,
take.
yeah,
Yes.
we're going to the same place, we're getting on the same
Yeah.
plane. But fortunately for me, I think I don't think I'd want to be one of those celebrities that, you can't like
Right.
paparazzi, walk out on the street and all that. I'm
Right.
very grateful and I'm always like so surprised, honestly, but it
Yes.
does happen. But then again, we're usually at an event where people are coming to see me teach or something, so it does
Sure.
make sense. There's only one time someone has spotted me at a completely non-yarn related event or
Right.
anything. Back here at home, I actually happen to be out at a bar right now one night with a friend. It was a complete dive bar,
Yeah.
and a very, very lovely lady who'd been there for a very long time was very excited to see me.
Oh, they caught you in the wild.
Yes,
That's
that
so
was the only time. That was the only time. Yeah, completely in the wild. So
well,
thankfully, actually.
I found you like way before I knew of any other sites. I mean, yours was the very first one,
Thank you.
and it was the crochet along that got me going in my crochet practice even more than I had been, I would say. And I did one of the Afghans, the 12-month Afghans. And if you remember the colors, I mean, I even followed your color story.
Oh,
It was
wow.
like kind of tropicals with
Okay.
orange and yellow and turquoise and purple.
Yes, I
It was
remember
that.
that one.
Yeah, it was that one. And I finished the project, got it all blocked and, ready to go. And it was actually a gift for my oldest son.
Oh,
And I gave it to him, and like, bless his heart, he didn't know. Like, he just talked stupid is what he did. So I gave it to him and he was like, oh, those aren't really my colors. I'm more
yeah.
green, I'm more green and like, I don't know, Slytherin colors, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, that's fine. If you don't love it, it will stay home with me because, I worked on this thing for months and it was a passion project and okay, my house. So it stays at my house for years. And then he's home and he's like, oh my God, Mom, That's beautiful. I don't know what was wrong with me back then. I'm going to take it now.
Oh my gosh. I just needed to grow up a little, I guess.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Like it's been, this perfect location for this whole time. And I'm like,
Yep.
okay, fine, you can have it. But I was like, you be careful with it. So do you get that way? Do you get like, and I don't know, maybe you don't, but I get some of my crochet projects are really precious.
There are a few. They're the ones that I love, but at this point, I'll be honest, I've made so many and I actually really love that people get really excited about like taking them. So, because I
Yes.
do have a huge pile, I'll be honest. I donate as much as I can. I give away a lot away. But it's hard as a designer. You have to hold on to sometimes a lot of things because people will come back and be like, ask for that one weird measurement that you never thought to measure on it. Like, I don't know
Right.
what their circumference of the upper arm is for this baby sweater. Good thing I held on to it. Let me pull that out, you know?
Right, right.
Otherwise, no, I have no idea. So yeah, it's always unfortunate. I feel like when I've given something away and then it's like, okay, I actually probably should have held on to that. But I do try and give away as much as I can. And those crochet along blankets are definitely one of the things. I'm very lucky that my kids, as they've moved out, have been big fans. I've got
Yeah.
my middle child is actually moving into his first college apartment this fall here next month and very exciting. And he's already come down to the office and told me, okay, I want that blanket and I'm going to need some more
Mhm.
blankets for my apartment, mom. So I
Right.
feel
Oh,
very
that's
blessed.
great.
Yeah.
So, of all of the things that you make, and like you make and design a lot, so I would imagine, do your favorites kind of go in seasons or cyclical, maybe?
Yeah. I think, yeah, there's the things I think ultimately it's the things that I decide to keep for myself are the things that
Sure.
become my favorites. The things where I'm like, okay, this is something I want to wear all the time.
Hmm.
And a lot of things I just really enjoy crocheting and experimenting with color. So like I say, a lot of things are to give away or to donate or, not even my size, my daughter's size or whatever.
Hmm.
But yes, there's definitely the things where I feel like I stopped and I took the time and I made something maybe even with more me in mind than my audience a little bit, to
Sure.
be honest.
So do you have a favorite in that, like, is it like
Hmm.
squishies or blankets or
Oh gosh.
housewares or door hangers? I mean, you make so
Yeah.
many different
Oh
things.
gosh. It's funny. I don't make as many garments. They simply take time, right?
Right,
It's much easier to figure out sizing on a blanket than it is to figure out sizing on a sweater for
right,
an adult woman.
right.
But I love making the simple garments that I make and that I love to wear. But then I also love like the blanket projects like that because I love just a good sit down at night and relax project where I don't have to
Right.
think about it. Once the pattern's established, it's just a matter of taking the time to get the stitching done. And I enjoy those times as well. So I think that's one of the things that made me a designer is that
Sure.
I like to mix it up. I want to have a challenging project and a relaxing project and
Mhm.
that super challenging project that where I have to do the math, you know?
Right.
So
So
I like to kind of have them all on the go, I guess.
do you prefer to work in blocks then or in strips or rows?
Oh gosh. I like it all. I know
Do
that's
you?
terrible. I do. I really like it all. I like working in the round. I love special
Mhm.
color techniques. One of my favorite things about crochet is that there's things I still haven't even learned.
Right.
Like I've been hearing a lot of buzz about brioche crochet. I don't even know. I don't know
I
how to
don't
do it.
either.
I'm
What is that?
excited. No, but I'm excited because it's something new I get to go learn. I've just been
Right.
hearing some buzzing about it. There's always something new like that. Like I
Mhm.
was teaching a class just this past weekend on foundation stitches for the Crochet Guild of America. They had their Change
Oh,
Space retreat in Reno.
nice.
Also very hot there, but a very different heat. Um,
Right. Yeah.
much drier. But we had people in class basically inventing stitches, and I'm like, "Okay, you guys have inspired me. I need to go back. There's more for me to play
Interesting.
with now." So, yeah, I for me, it's the always something new, which makes it really hard to pick a favorite. That's what I love is that every time I sit down, there's something new to discover.
What is your thought on I've seen more kind of rise in interest and popularity in freeform crochet.
Mhm.
Thoughts?
Yeah, it's funny because for me, just because of the era I came up in,
Yeah.
um, it was really popular for a while, then it seemed to quiet down, so it's really fun to
Mm,
have been around long enough to see it coming back, I think. But I think it's really interesting. It's not something I've done a whole lot of, it's something I certainly wanna
mhm.
explore more of.
Me
I
too.
love the idea of just sitting down and stitching and not writing it down, of course, for me,
Right.
that's my job, that's my work is sitting down and translating it. So I
Yeah.
love the idea of just letting it flow and
And
seeing what
just see
comes
what
off
you
the hook.
get.
Yeah, for sure. I
I'm
think
kind of curious too.
the things I've seen vests and bags and things. So clearly,
Yeah.
at some point you stop and create a shape. But
Right.
but
Right.
yeah, such gorgeous things, some really, really beautiful things done in
I
free form. So I'm excited by the technique.
I don't know if it would be called, well, with scrap gans, I
Hmm.
have done like one stitch down the row and a different stitch back and stuff like that. And I've had
Yeah.
a few projects where, I'm sure this probably doesn't happen to you anymore, but did it happen in the early days where like the Afghan isn't a foldable rectangle or square?
Oh
It's
yeah.
more like like,
Oh
or a
yeah. Yes.
like it
I think we've
goes
all
in
made
and then it
those.
goes back out.
Yeah,
I
for
stay with
sure.
it though. I don't tear them out. I'm just like, you know
Hmm.
what? When I'm snuggled on the couch, nobody will be the wiser that this went
Absolutely.
sideways.
Absolutely. I really wish I could go back and find. I've got to go through like my daughter's 23 now, somewhere in
Mhm.
the depths of the storage part of the basement. We
Yeah.
probably still have her dress up stuff, and I think somewhere in there might be the first couple things I ever attempted to crochet.
Oh,
And of course, I thought, I was going to make a blanket or a scarf like everybody, and
right.
it is the wonkiest piece of fabric.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how it actually I don't think it was crochet, perhaps there was a stitch in there's some sort of netting and knotting. I don't know
Mhm.
what I came up with, but if I ever find it, I am definitely going to blog about it because I love, showing people this is what happens when you're learning. It's okay
Well,
if it's wonky and weird.
if you want to say, like, open that up to readers, like, what's your wonkiest? For this blog, I have an entry. Um,
Okay.
One of the very first things I crocheted was a hexagon blanket,
Mm,
and they were hexagon squares, and the pattern was in a crochet magazine. And I didn't read the directions entirely. So I was supposed to join as I went,
mhm.
but no. I had like 164 or 264, whatever, some outrageous number of
Yeah. Oh,
hexagons. And then and then I had to stitch them all together at the end. And I
yep.
just remember I didn't weave in any ends until the end. So this thing was just like, I mean, it looked like a bunch of octopus like next to each other
Mhm.
with all of these like tails hanging down. And it took me as long to weave in the ends as it took me to make it, I
I
swear.
believe it. I believe it. I've known a few people who, when they've encountered things like that, you just back the whole thing in fleece.
Yeah.
So be
So
done.
smart. Oh my God. I didn't even know I could do that. Oh my God.
I
But
did
like
that.
now when I'm teaching people, I am like, I swear to God, do not be a baby. You weave in those ends and you do it as you go. Like I get really
No.
stern from my own experience of
Yes.
just like I almost walked away from this like expensive, time consuming project because I didn't weave in my ends. Oh my
Yeah.
golly.
Yeah. I
Oh my
think
God.
we've all been there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So I actually, in preparation for you being here today, we opened up some questions since you are a returning guest. And so Sammy actually threw this one in. Sammy wants to know what's one thing you wish every new crocheter knew?
Oh gosh. I think I want them to know that it's going to take time.
Yeah.
It's gonna take time to develop your skills, and it's
Mhm.
okay. And we all make mistakes. We all make mistakes all the time. And it's going to simply just take time. I think the biggest battle most new crocheters have, especially if they haven't done handicrafts before,
Mhm.
like knitters have an advantage. They're used to sort of holding, tools and string and holding them firm and keeping them right there.
Oh, for
It's
tension.
it's a whole different thing, yeah, when you're trying to
Mhm.
hold a hook and figuring out how to hold the yarn and not have it just wind around on your hook and hold it
Mhm.
still and hold it right where you want it. I think that's genuinely one of the biggest battles for new crocheters, and
Mhm.
I like to tell somebody if we have the opportunity, if it's a multi-meetup thing, we can meet for a few
Mhm.
minutes, send you home, we'll meet again. I like to say, "Get your chaining down. Just sit down and make miles and miles and miles of chains, and don't worry about it." It's gonna give you so many of the skills, the yarning over, the pulling through. Don't worry about the stitches yet. Just sit down, turn
Mhm.
on the Netflix, whatever it is, and just
Yes.
make those miles of chains. And by the time, you come back a week later, you're gonna feel so much better. I know there's been so many times when, especially like when I was teaching myself to knit, I was getting
Mhm.
so frustrated, right? Even
Yeah.
being a crocheter, the knitting, the 2 sticks, the string, it was crazy. And I put it in timeout for a night. It's always so much easier the next day.
Yeah.
When you get frustrated, yes, practice, but once you get
Mhm.
frustrated, put it down and come back. Sleeping, the muscle memory, it will kind of I think it
Mhm.
settles in overnight quite a bit.
Well, and I think too, like when I'm demonstrating, a particular granny square or something, I cannot get over how many people refuse to count, and
Yes.
like they'll get done and they'll be like, I'll say, did you count? It just happened this past weekend, bless your hearts, friends who were here, and they were finger crocheting. And I said, well, you have to count every row. Did you count? No. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you have to count like that. Like
Yeah.
it just has to be part of like your muscle memory,
For
because
sure.
without that one data point,
Yeah. And that's
that's
such a good point. And I remember being a new crocheter and feeling
yeah,
so like allergic to counting and
right.
having friends who were the same. I don't know why we're all like that, but we
It's
are.
yes, but like you and I will be the first to say I don't math, I hate
Yeah,
math, I hate all of it. But I also feel like you have to count for the sake of your project and your
for
own
sure.
sanity.
For sure.
Otherwise you can just end up in a mess and you're going to
Yes.
lose the whole thing.
Yes.
So that would be mine. Like
Yes.
you need to crochet.
Yes. In
Our
that, I also always tell new crocheters, you it reminded me of one other thing that I like to
yeah,
say is
for
I
sure.
always recommend that beyond the yarn and the hook, I know we don't want to invest a lot in a brand new hobby,
Yeah.
stitch markers. These little guys right
Oh
here.
my
Oh, I
goodness.
picked a pink one. That's a terrible one to hold up for color. Let me try a different color one. Here we go.
Yep.
Light blue. But yeah, these stitch markers, the kind that open, they're like little plastic safety pins.
Yes.
They save you so much hassle. You can put one in your first
Mhm.
stitch of each row. You'll always know where to end that next row. It helps you avoid having to do as much
Right.
counting.
Right.
They are such a lifesaver. There's so many ways to use them. So I'd say after
Well,
the yarn and the hook, that's your next investment.
and they're not that expensive. I
No,
mean,
and they're
they
not.
are
They're not.
definitely reasonable to kind of keep in your tool bag.
Yeah. You can
Um,
get very cheap ones very, very
so
easily.
so this one wasn't from folks writing in today, but I have people ask me sometimes when they're new if I have a favorite brand of crochet hook,
Mm.
or which hooks I recommend. And my answer to that is I don't care as long as it has a flat throat. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's funny you say that
Yeah.
because I am someone who tends to twirl my crochet hook. So the hooks I use
Mm,
personally tend to avoid having the flat thumb hold. A
yeah.
lot of people like that flat bit for their thumb, and I
Yes.
tend to prefer a more rounded hook. Um,
Interesting.
it also honestly, it just does depend too on the type of project I'm making and the type of yarn I'm using.
Oh,
Like if it's a really, really slick yarn and I'm having trouble with it, trying to think maybe like a silk or something where it's just really slippery. Karen Simply Soft, has a slippery
oh,
reputation. I actually prefer having like a wooden hook or something that has a little more, that's a little less slick,
oh, yeah. It's
to
got
help
some porousness.
control the loop so it doesn't just want to
Mhm.
come off. It's the same advice I actually give to brand new knitters. When you're learning how to knit, make sure you get the really cheap wooden needles because it's going to grip your yarn and keep your loops from just
Right.
falling off.
Mhm.
But if it's something where I'm rolling along or something with a lot of wool content, I want the slipperiest, slickest hook I
Mhm.
can find, just kind of gliding through those stitches. And then if I'm doing something where I want a pointy hook, I'm going to pick up a different hook. If I want something where I want a rounded one because I'm worried about splitting the yarn, I'm going to use a different hook. So I love having a huge selection
Choose
to choose
variety,
from.
right.
And I don't know if I could pick one particular favorite because I'm always going to pick up the one that fits that project.
That is such a good answer in that, hook tools need to match, um, yarn
For sure.
weight and what they do and what you're making.
Yep.
I just like the one where, like, what's that called, Tamara, where it's like at the hook end where that bit is flat.
Oh, okay. So inline versus tapered, I think is what you're
Yes.
referring to. So I'm just
Yes.
going to pull up probably, oh, I've got a really big one here. Let me grab.
Okay.
There we go. Really big hook so we can see it really
Yes,
easily.
that.
So
I like that
yeah,
that little guy is flat.
right. Yes, where it's all flat across here, that's
Yes.
the inline. And the ones where often the hook sticks up a little higher, those are the
Mhm.
tapered ones. So yes, I agree. I agree. I prefer the inline as well. The tapered ones I
Mhm.
tend to catch a little bit
I
more.
do too, and I
Yeah,
split. There are some yarns that I'm always splitting, and I am just like, "What in the heck?
yeah,
Like, what is happening?" So that, I know can be really frustrating. So,
for
okay,
sure.
well, let's go back to some questions then from our friends here. This one I like. How do you deal with perfectionism in crochet? I keep frogging, which means taking everything out. Everything. This is from Shay.
Okay.
Thoughts
Well,
on perfectionism?
yes, yes. Oh gosh, perfectionism really is the enemy of moving on in life, right?
Yeah, done.
So
Mhm.
we've all been there for sure. I always say this, there's a difference between the projects that I would make for the state fair and the
Yeah.
projects I would make for myself, right?
Right. Right.
It's kind of like when you think about cooking a meal at home, it's like, okay, that pie might not be as beautiful, but if it tastes
Right.
delicious, it's great. And for me, if I make something and say the inside of it's got a wonky part where I, used the tail end to tie a couple of strange stitches together, if nobody can see it but me, then it's still, it still works. It's still functional.
Mhm.
So, and I don't say that to, say people should be lazy or not try on their projects, but you've got to make that judgment. Some people are going to go back and pull everything out, but then some people, there's philosophies out there that say, you need a mistake in your project to make it your own, or there are
Mhm.
older beliefs
Oh,
I've
right,
heard
right,
that
right.
you have to have a mistake in your project so the soul can escape or something like that. So, you look at
Something
it
to
that
make
way,
us
right?
feel better. I love
Right,
it.
yeah.
I love it.
And it's things that make it unique. And I
Mhm.
think too, we are our own worst critics for sure. Not only is a non-crocheter most likely never going to be able to spot what you did, but most crocheters aren't going to be looking for your mistakes either. When I see somebody wearing an item, I'm not expecting it for mistakes,
Right.
right?
We look from the 30-foot view,
Right. I'm
right? Not
admiring it. If I'm
yeah,
getting that close, then, that's a different issue. If I'm getting
right.
close to your project, be able to see every little issue, it's fine. I would say you've got to work to where you're happy with it for sure. You're making these things for yourself, but give yourself a little bit of slack if it's back at the beginning. Um, you know, think about ways you can fix it rather than frogging it all out for sure if it's
Right.
really going to bother you.
Well, I
I've
think
put videos on tutorials on YouTube about how you can literally cut off the first few rows if you didn't like those and save the rest of your project. So there's ways around.
interesting. Okay,
There
we'll
are
be
ways
sure to
around.
link that in the show notes. I didn't know that was a possibility.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say that my perfectionism really like I feel like in crochet I have it when again I have to count and
Mhm,
join things. If I have to count and join, I would rather take it out than try
mhm,
to like finagle a join where they're not.
mhm.
Like if it's
It's
supposed to end on
interesting.
24 and I end on 36, there's going to be a lot of puckering to get
Mhm.
those things to connect together.
That's
So I
interesting.
think I feel like if it isn't going to connect to the next thing,
I
I'm
think
okay with it.
okay, so I think the cure for that might be joining my Moogly Crochet Along every year because we
Yes.
do 24 different squares by 24 different designers. So they're
Hmm.
going to have different stitch counts at the end. And we probably have some perfectionists out there who, recalibrate everything to make sure everything has the same stitch count on that final row.
Right.
But it's a great exercise in finding ways and joins that will allow you to bring those two disparate squares right next to each other and make it work.
That's a
Um,
great idea because I did that
yeah.
crochet along. I did that and I loved it. I loved it so much. And the thing about the crochet along too, if I may take a little wormhole here, is that very rarely there was a square that didn't like "Meh, I didn't really like
Yeah.
that one as much. So I just went back in the archives of Moogly crochet alongs and I just found a different one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because there are years and years of squares, like how many,
Oh
Tamara?
gosh.
Like
I think
that's
I think we've been doing it officially since 2014. So
okay,
I'd like
yeah.
to say it's the longest continuously running crochet along on the internet. I can't prove it, but so far it's the longest one I found.
I would imagine because I feel like I don't think I was your first year, but I might have
Mhm.
been the second or the third
Mhm.
because I was able to go back into the repository and just look at all the squares. I mean,
Yes.
it's so cool. It's so
Yes.
cool. If you haven't done it, I highly, 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 highly recommend. It was fabulous. Um,
It's a great way to stretch your skills. And like I say, I think it forces
mhm.
you to say, okay, how am I going to make this work?
Right,
Bring
right.
that to the project yourself. Yeah.
And Karen, thank you for your comment about like things can still be used for their intended use, right?
Yes.
And it applies to quilting too, and lots of
Mhm.
other handcraft, I would assume, where if we don't hit the mark exactly, we might be the only ones who know.
For sure. Oh gosh, I can tell you a funny, real quick story. I sent
Yeah.
a pillow pattern into a magazine. It was published, everything went great. 6 months later, they sent the pillow back. I put it in the guest room, didn't think anything of it. About a year later, I had a guest who was a knitter and noticed one of the bobbles was missing.
It's kind
Nobody
of like
noticed till then for
It's
years.
of like the strawberry on the opening of the British baking show. Do you watch
Mm.
that? Like
I
it's
have, but I haven't noticed the strawberry
there's
thing.
a missing strawberry from the bottom right-hand corner, and it's like been that opening for years. And it's I think when I watched it, I'm like, did no one mention there's a missing strawberry? But we just keep looking at the same thing. So
Right.
it's missing a little bobble. That's
Yep.
amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. But still, to Karen's point, still
Noticed.
usable and
Oh,
lovely
yeah.
and
Still in the guest room, being used,
right.
and nobody else has noticed.
And
So,
even if they do, what did you say earlier
right.
about the
Now it's a
mistake?
funny story, right?
Right, the mistake makes it authentic.
Yeah.
Okay, so from Lexi, she asks, "Do you ever design something that totally flops, and what do you do
Oh,
next?"
yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got over 700 patterns out there. So I'll be the first one to say not everyone's been a hit. I
Yeah.
like to play. I like to play a lot with crochet. That's one of the things that
Mhm.
keeps me going and motivated is trying new things. And sometimes when you try a new thing, you've got this vision in your head and it just doesn't come out exactly the way you wanted. And, sometimes I still put those out because even when it didn't turn out the way I envisioned it, I've had people come
Mhm.
back and say, "Oh, I love that. That's exactly what
Right,
I wanted." So
right.
even when it's not exactly my vision, as long as it's not, terrible and embarrassing, I'm still going to put
Mhm.
it out because there's somebody out there who is going to love it and someone whose vision I did meet. So to me, it's just a matter of you keep going, Again,
Right.
we can take it back to the meals we have to eat every day. Not every meal is going to be a winner,
Mhm.
but you still have to eat tomorrow. You keep crocheting.
So so in crochet, do you think that like if we've got beginners listening, like do you think that there is a good place to start? Like a good beginner project or
Mm.
like what gets in your experience, what have you seen gets folks excited as in
Oh
a start
gosh.
so that they stick
Yeah.
with it?
Well, I think it's gonna depend on what brought them to crochet.
Okay.
Like there are so many fabulous crocheters on social media right now, like in their
Mhm.
20s, who just want to make these cute little summer tops, and that's all they're gonna make, and they're gonna learn how
Mhm.
to make those, and they're done, and that's awesome. I think for me personally, when I was learning to crochet, and then when I taught myself to knit, well, I say taught myself, I actually got a video featuring an 8-year-old boy teaching people how to knit. That's how I did it.
That's
But when he
awesome.
was teaching me how to knit on that little
Yeah.
VHS, my favorite projects genuinely are dishcloths and washcloths. And I know that's such like a boring project in and of itself, but I think
Mhm.
it's the perfect project for beginners because it's small. You're not
Yeah.
devoting yourself to a whole scarf, right? I think every
Mhm.
beginner says they're going to make a scarf, gets about that far in, and is ready for their next project, right?
Exactly. It's a little boring
Yes.
after a while. Mhm.
So the washcloth is just the right size, but it's
Mhm.
going to let you practice your tension over and over again. It's going to give you an opportunity to try out all kinds of new stitches. It's going to use a minimal amount of very inexpensive yarn, right? We all know what
Mhm.
yarn we can use. It's very cheap. It's a little
Yeah.
bit stiff, which is great for beginners because it's not going to flop around on you as much.
Right.
And at the end of it, even if it's ugly, you've actually still got a usable item that you've made,
Right.
right? It's a wash rag. It doesn't have to be beautiful. Eventually, they will be beautiful, and you'll have ones you want to gift to other people. But those
Right.
first few ones, you can say, "Hey, I made this weird thing, but I made this. I made fabric.
Right.
Let's try again." And that second one's gonna be even better, and the third one's gonna be better than that. And you can
Mhm.
actually see that progress rather than having a scarf that's wonky at one end and beautiful at the other.
Right. Well, and I'm so glad for Dawn's comment here that she says she's happy that there are designers like you because some of us want to collect patterns and just crochet. I am with Dawn. I don't want to design anything. Like I do not have the brain space, interest, or capacity to like figure it out. I might be able to freeform it and end up
Mhm.
with something weird, but I don't
Yeah.
think that I could design. So I'm so grateful that you design so the rest of us can enjoy your patterns.
It's something I just kind of fell into, but I found that I really do enjoy it.
Mhm.
It is its own form of technical writing.
Oh,
I've always
definitely.
enjoyed writing, and I actually find that I do kind of enjoy it. Some things are really hard to communicate in crochet. Thank goodness for tech editors. I've definitely had to turn to some friends and go, "How would you even say this?"
Right,
But it
right.
is fun. It is fun. It is a lot of fun to teach people and see them have those aha moments for sure.
Mhm, mhm. So, Tamara, what's coming up for you? What's going on at the Moogly blog? What are you up to? Where can folks find you? What's next?
Oh gosh. Well, like I say, I just came back from the CGOA retreat and that was a lot of fun in Reno. So the next time I'm actually going out in the world to crochet will be in September when I'm going to Scotland, which is very exciting. and I'll be there for a little while with a tour. We're doing some crochet and some knitting while we
Amazing.
tour Scotland for 10 days or so. But then back here in the States, and what's still available is, of course, our retreat at Big Raven Farm. So I'm very excited about that.
Me
I'm super excited to
too.
work with you on that.
Me
Uh,
too. I'm
but that's
thrilled.
and then other than that, I've just got a couple of little online things happening here before the end of the year that I'll advertise as they come up. But yeah, those are my big two last trips
Yeah.
for the year at this point.
Well, Scotland sounds amazing. I went and I looked at the link to see what you were doing. And months and months ago, I looked and I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could go. But we, of course, have a retreat happening that
Yeah.
weekend. But our retreat, the one that Tamara and I are doing, it's collaborative and it is called Pick Your Projects with Crochet. So as you look at our list, you can pick a Joleen paper project, or you can pick a Tamara crochet project, or you can mix and match. And you can do a couple of these and a couple of those, and we will be on hand to help you through. So I will be sure to link it in the show notes, but it is going to be amazing.
I am so
Um,
excited.
we have 14 spots. I think we've sold 6. So those will, I know, so those will get gobbled up pretty fast, but it's going to be so much fun because, of course, it'll be here with the chef's nummy food, and we'll have optional yoga. And it just, I cannot wait. I
I know.
love these kinds of pick your projects retreats. And with having, I don't always have someone there helping me. It'll be really nice to have a helper. Barb helped me 2 weeks ago, and I was on my own last week. And it's really nice to have another like set of hands helping folks navigate through their projects. So,
Absolutely. And I'm excited to see the paper craft projects as well. I'm fascinated by paper crafting. I don't do it at all professionally.
right.
You got to have some things for yourself, your own personal
Exactly.
hobbies, but I'm very excited to see those projects and learn more about them as well. And of course,
Yeah.
walking people through crochet projects is one of my favorite things to do. There's so many fun skills we can go over in these different projects. And I just love that
Well,
everybody's going to be making what they want to make.
I know, right? Isn't that great? Well, and I don't know, like, I might not get a chance to like sit down and do my own project because I'll be helping others, but I am really excited about the chicken squishy.
Yes.
Like, I want to make a chicken squishy so bad, and maybe even put them on our guest rooms because our chickens are like a really big part of the environment here. Like, our
Yes.
ladies add a whole lot of ambiance to the farm. So, like, the squishies. Can you
Oh.
tell folks your origin story? Because isn't that how it started?
No, not at all, actually. The squishies.
I thought it was an octopus.
Oh, the how octopus, how the squishies started, yes. The squishies started
Yes.
with the
Okay.
octopus. I was gonna say, I didn't start doing squishies until a few years ago.
Oh yeah. No.
Um,
No.
sorry, I thought that was what you were saying. No, yes. I was like, "Well, not really." I'm trying to think, where'd they go? You know what? We had, those when those floods came through Iowa here a few weeks ago,
Yes.
we moved
Yes.
so much stuff because 'cause we're down here in the basement. I'm sitting here going, "Wait, where did they all go?" They're all up high
Mhm.
now behind me. They're usually right behind me. Yes, no, I did start with the octopus squishy, and what it was amigurumi, of course, has been a big thing for a long time. But
Mhm.
the reason I wasn't really getting into it myself was all those tiny little stitches, the tight fabric. Um, I'm in my late 40s for now. And my eyesight, was starting to
Mhm.
really strain with some of those tiny little stitches and things. And I said, what if we went big?
Yeah.
So I started using Bernat blanket for them and filling them with these 10-inch micro bead pillow balls that I found online. And it just gave it such a great body and shape. I actually, like I say, I started with the octopus, but I just came out with a raccoon this month.
What?
So I happen to have him right here.
Oh my
And
gosh.
here he is. Here's our
Oh
raccoon squish.
my
So they're
gosh.
just called squishes. And there's the octopus squish. We've got a narwhal, a chicken, a cat, a fox. So many, too many to mention, but this one is our new raccoon.
I love it. For those of you listening and not watching, it's adorable. I feel like I should make a raccoon just because, Tamara, I don't know if you've been listening, but we've been having raccoon drama here on the farm.
Oh my.
And I have a very naughty raccoon who just refuses to live in harmony with my chickens and
Mm.
has so far killed 2 and
Oh no.
stole away with a third. And we interrupted the abduction and got her back. And then
Mm.
now all the other chickens are picking on her. Like, she's really been through it, poor thing. But
Shoot.
this raccoon has 2 babies,
Mm.
and I mean, I know everyone's got to eat, but stop eating my chickens, you jerk. So,
Raccoons can eat other things. They have options.
right, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. But
shoot.
the raccoon might help me make peace with this raccoon. That's like, maybe I'll put it outside the coop. Like, I like you, just don't eat my chickens. Like, eat something else, you jerk.
Oh, no
John
kidding.
says blanket squares were their first with you, Tamara. Did you ever do your blue squares?
Oh gosh, did I do blues once? I did. I did a blanket that was sort of in Delft blue.
Oh,
I was trying to
nice.
remember over the years because I'm trying to remember now all my colorways that, over the years that
Right,
I've done.
right.
And yeah, I did do one year that was that I did a series of blues. I think it was pretty much blue and white. Delft pottery was sort of my inspiration for that
Oh, that
year.
makes sense. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
This year I'm
Okay.
actually doing for the very first time, I've actually done one where sort of black is my joining color. Normally when I just realized I cannot hold this square up for you because it hasn't been released yet.
Oh,
But I was like, "Wait, I can't show that one." But, normally, I would use a color or white a lot of times
yeah.
if I'm joining square, and, you think of those classic granny square blankets, with the black and the bright colors on the back of, like, the couch on Roseanne and
Yes,
things like that.
yes. I
And
love
so
those.
yeah, so I was doing some stash busting for this year, so I wanted to use up some of my leftover, Red Heart with Love. I had quite a bit of it, and so I
Mhm.
started going through it, and I realized I hadn't done one that features a lot of black before, so I'm doing sort of some Art Deco inspired, more stained glass, with black
Love
background
that.
colors this year, so that's been a lot of fun as well. It's always a challenge, and it's funny, I start off the year in love with my colors, I get to the end of the year, and I'm sick of them. Ready for another year, ready to pick a
Right?
new colorway for the next year. But then I get to put it away and come back later and be like, "Okay, now
Mhm.
I'm ready to look at that one again." But
I
it is
absolutely
fun.
I love the classic granny square. Like I love the look of that so much. And when I was a kid, the blankets, in Minnesota, I don't know, does everyone have blankets in their living room? But like we do,
Oh,
I
yeah.
did growing up. There's a stack of blankets, all crocheted by my mom. And my mom did almost like a berry stitch. Um,
Ooh.
like each row was like, and think in a 70s colorway. So it was green berries, one whole row, then yellow, then orange, and then maybe there's one more in there. And then she just repeated, and it's all berries. And so
Mm,
I can't imagine how long that took her. And
yeah.
I still have it. I still have it. But it brings me to a question. You mentioned the red heart. A question I hear in the fiber community all the time is about the different kinds of fiber.
Mhm.
And, do you get the skein that's $14 a skein, $20, $30, or do you
Mm,
get the one that's $3.99?
sure.
So what are your thoughts on yarn
Mhm.
selection?
Well, I firmly believe every yarn has its place. If
Sure.
I'm going to be making a dog bed, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to pick, the luscious
Yeah.
cashmere $30 skein stuff,
Yeah.
right? I'm gonna head
Yeah.
out to we all know, the local big box store and pick up
Mm-hmm.
whatever's available in 100% acrylic. But
Right.
I'm so glad that's there so we can do things like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think that what a lot of people overlook when they start looking at, comparing maybe their local yarn store yarns to the stuff they're used to seeing in the big box store
Yeah.
is you need to stop a lot of times and look at your yardage. A lot of times when you stop and look at the price per yard, it's a lot closer than you might think. A lot of
Ah,
times
so
those gains are bigger.
stop looking at the skein and
Yeah,
start looking at how much yards and then do
yes,
some math.
right, yeah.
Got
It's a
it.
little bit of math, but if you look at it, I see it all the time. People will say, "Well, this one's, this gain is $5 and this one's 10." And
Mhm.
it's like, "Okay, but did you look at the yardage? This one's got twice as much."
Right.
So, s a proportionally larger
Sure.
amount, which does then, price per yard, you're getting a lot closer. And then, of course, there's just the experience of working with the yarn, you've gotta think about what you're gonna be using it for. If you're making, again, something for a baby to wear, something for a brand new parent, um,
Mhm.
you don't wanna use the most precious things, but if you're
Right.
making that beautiful sweater for you, you've been building up your skills, you found your perfect pattern, that's when it's time to indulge and find the
Right.
yarn that's gonna be work for you. My main recommendation is always read the care instructions because you don't wanna make a sweater and then realize you cannot care for it.
Right, you can't wash it
Yeah.
or yeah, that's a good excellent point. I guess for me, I kind of feel like I have so many handicraft projects and things that I do and make. And so I tend to lean toward less expensive yarn
Mm-hmm.
just because I make so many things.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I know myself. If I
Yeah.
used really expensive yarn, I would be so precious with it
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know that I would use it or
Yeah.
trust myself with it because I'm kind of a messy maker and a messy person anyway. So,
I think that's behind a little bit of what is commonly seen as a divide between crocheters and knitters. Knitters
mm,
are seen as spending more on their yarn, and crocheters are seen as getting more cheap yarn. Well, a crocheter can make a big full-size blanket in a couple days. A knitter is going to
right.
take months and months. They're just going to be spending more time with that yarn.
Mhm.
They typically make fewer big projects. And again, these are generalizations. There's
Of
always
course.
exceptions.
Of
But,
course.
typically they're going to make fewer large projects. And I'd like to think even most knitters probably aren't going to sit down and do, a big old throw blanket, that's going to
Mhm.
get used in the living room in the most precious fluffy stuff, right?
Right, right,
So,
right.
yeah. So I firmly believe every yarn has its place, and it's not every yarn's right for every project, but that's okay. That's why it's good we have a
Well,
variety.
I'm glad you brought that up because I don't understand it, but I do kind of experience it. And I have my own kind of armchair quarterbacking on this. But so I am a crocheter. I can knit. I don't really like to. I prefer to crochet. I think crochet allows for a little bit more wiggle room.
Mhm.
I can see my mistakes easier. I can back out and redo easier for me. A mistake in knitting seems like a much bigger deal. Like it's
Yeah.
harder to get back and get on the right track. So I prefer to crochet. But then my sister-in-law, and I'm an artist, like an artist through and through. I approach my life through the lens of artistry with flexibility and wiggle room and, creativity.
Amazing.
My sister-in-law is super, super smart, 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 smart. And she is a pharmacist and she approaches things from a more scientific,
Mhm.
mathematical lens. And she prefers to knit. And
Mhm.
so it kind of in our family, at least in my mind, is like we've got the knitter and the crocheter, and that makes perfectly good sense.
Yes. Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that's where she and I align. And I admire what she does, and I think
Mhm.
she admires what I do. But what are your thoughts on the crochet versus knit?
Oh, I think that is absolutely a real thing, and it's one of,
Yeah.
like, I do enjoy both, but it's one of
Mhm.
the big differences I experience myself. Knitting requires so much planning, right? You've
Right.
got all those loops you have to take care of at any one time. You need to
Mhm.
know where you're going, you have to kind of have a plan for how you're going to
Yes.
get there. With crochet, you've just got that one loop on your hook. You could go
Right.
anywhere next at
So
all,
true.
doesn't matter.
You don't have to think forward or
You could
back.
do
You just get to
anything.
think in the
Yes.
moment. That's
Yes,
so
I
true.
do think I think it allows for greater creativity in the moment. I think that
Mhm.
those who design knitting patterns have a much more, at least compared to myself, much more methodical mind to it.
Mhm.
I'm definitely not one of those knitters or crocheters who can sit down and write a pattern out and then make it, unless it's, something
Oh,
super
so you have
simple.
to
I
design
need
and
to
write as you go, is that what you
Yeah,
mean? Yeah,
I
that
do. At
makes
least till I get it established. I've gotta
mhm,
I'm always taking notes and adjustments and, "Oh, you know what? That didn't work out the way I thought it would." Pull it out, redo it.
right.
Um Maybe I don't know if it's
Actually,
a lack of skills on my part, but it's just the way I design. It's a very
I doubt
organic
that very much.
process.
I do enjoy that knitters get that beautiful blanket stitch.
Mhm.
I love that so much. And there are ways to emulate that in crochet, right?
For sure, yes. There's a couple different ways with standard crochet, center stitches, center single crochet, center double crochet can help you with that. And then, of course, there's Tunisian crochet, which is its own
Woo!
little thing that can really give you, some really interesting looks as well.
Right. And that for folks who might know that's hooks on both ends, yeah?
It can be, it can be.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
double-ended Tunisian. It can also be, just a really long straight hook with a stopper on one end, like a knitting needle. Like your more traditional knitting needles. It can
Yeah.
also be a hook with a cord attached, like, you've got your
Oh,
corded
like
knitting
in
needles, but it would just have
yeah.
one hook on one end usually. So, there's lots of different
Interesting.
ways to do it, yeah.
Well, I am intrigued.
Yes. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, and I think
There's
if you've got a
always
background in
something
either crochet or knitting, you're partially the way there for, Tunisian as well.
absolutely, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Tamara, you are like a wealth of knowledge in this area. You clearly are in the right lane, a subject matter expert through and through. Oh
Thank
my
you.
goodness sakes. And I'm so excited that you and I are collaborating on our
Yeah.
project. I realized we didn't tell people when it was.
Oh gosh, we were having too much fun.
Sorry. It's October 23rd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th. Here at Big Raven Farm in Spring Grove, Minnesota. I will be sure to link the registration page so you can read more about it. You can find us at bigravenfarm.com, click on retreats, and then just scootle on over to that page. But Tamara, before I let you go, I know we've asked you these questions before, but maybe things have changed. It gives us a chance to get to know you a little bit better, and they can be one-word answers or you can elaborate. But right now, today, Tamara, what is your favorite word?
Free time.
Oh, I like that. I'm going to go, mine's 2 words. I'm going to go luxurious morning.
Ooh, I like
In the
that.
in the summer, I have been like kind of slowing down a little bit and
Mm-hmm.
making this promise to myself that I'm not going to get into my Gen X hyper productivity mode until I consume 1 cup of coffee in peace. So,
Oh, that is such a good rule.
right, just one thing, right? No
Yeah.
scrolling, no phone
Mm-hmm.
scrolling, no just nothing happens. So that is mine. So where did yours come from?
Gosh, mostly that I'm keep looking for it.
Yeah,
Free time. I need more of it. It's funny because I think for a lot of hobbyists, the summertime is kind of a break from crochet for a lot of people, or
right.
doing less crochet, more outdoor activities. And
Hmm.
for a lot of people, and when I was a hobbyist as well, crochet was much more of a winter time activity. But for those of us who are designing, we have to do all our gearing up for that, all
Yeah.
that winter stuff right now. So it's kind of crazy right now. Everybody's having their summer moments, and I'm like, well, I'm kind of getting ready for Christmas, but I'll
That's
get there
adorable.
eventually.
Oh my
I love
gosh.
January when things are
Right.
that
You've
chance to
already
breathe.
delivered. Yeah. You've
Yes.
already delivered your
Yeah.
design elements. That makes sense.
Yep.
So right now then, do you have a not favorite word at this moment?
Gosh. Probably Probably the opposite one, rush. Rush. When
Mm,
things are in a rush, things don't go well. I think, it's
no.
so important. I'm really trying to make myself focus on what I'm doing things now, like
Right.
that one thing, and not just rush off to that next thing and be concentrating on what I have to do next. So that's been a real big focus for me now, is trying to take the rush out of my life and not rushing myself when I don't need to be rushed, imposing that on myself. I think we
I
do that to ourselves a lot.
I think you and I have a lot in common right now because I think my least favorite word right now is just pressure.
Yeah.
And it's just a busy season. And, I am busier now than when I had 4 kids at home. And I just
Yeah, what's
cannot
that
believe,
about?
right? Like, I cannot believe the bite I've taken. And I did it to myself because I took
Hmm.
the bite. But yeah, so pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure is my word right now that I just kind of feel a lot of it. And
Hmm.
I do know that for me, it's seasonal. Like
Yeah.
it's just a seasonal thing. And it won't last forever because I don't want my top to pop off, but it's just like just right now.
Mhm.
Okay. Has this answer changed since you were with us last? Did we
Oh
give you this
gosh.
one? Like,
I don't
Cameron, what is the best kind of sandwich? This is so important because toast is my favorite food.
this is yeah,
Yeah.
this is a hard one, and it does move around.
Yeah.
Right now, because it's summertime, I'm
Yeah.
going to have to go with, like, chicken salad. I love
Oh,
a really good chicken salad in the summer.
interesting. Do you put anything in it to make it? Like, do you do anything like
I You know
grapes?
what? I love to put turmeric in my chicken
Oh,
salad.
yeah.
I
I could
know that's
do
kind of
that.
weird, and it makes it really
No.
yellow, but it makes it really delicious, and supposedly it makes it healthier for you, so it just feels extra fancy.
Right. I'm gonna go, okay, I'm with you. I'm gonna go chicken salad, but I'm gonna put cranberries and celery in mine
Okay.
so that I got a little feasty vibe to it. Maybe a little Swiss, toasted on cranberry walnut bread. So it's like a bite of dried fruit all the time.
Very
Yeah,
exciting.
that's what I'm gonna do.
Yep. There, got lunch plans. Figured it out.
Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. Well, and like our trick to great chicken salad is the rotisserie chickens at
Mhm.
Costco or Sam's or
I
whatever.
I've got half of one sitting in my fridge right now that I'm
Yeah,
like, "Yes."
it is amazing to me that a cooked chicken is cheaper than a raw chicken.
Every week, I'm like, I look at the chickens and I look at the cooked ones, and why would
Yeah,
I bother? Why turn on the oven in
exactly.
this heat?
Exactly. No, no, no. We just, in fact, we live closer to a Sam's Club than a Costco.
Mm,
And when we're at Sam's Club, like they have a timer set out because as soon as they put them out, they're gone.
I
And so
believe it.
like there's a little clock and it's like, okay, 13 minutes. So go shop, go do something else. And then in 13 minutes, everybody comes back. Because we don't want to turn our oven on either. It's
Yeah.
so stinking hot and I don't have air conditioning in my kitchen.
Ugh.
So
Yeah, that's
a
rough.
little bit of a
Well,
design flaw there.
yeah.
Okay, so do you think that animals are scary? And if so,
God.
what is the scariest animal?
I mean, there's definitely scary ones out there. And you know
Mhm.
what? I'm going to give you a weird answer because
Yeah,
I'm lucky I live in Iowa. We don't have a lot of scary things to encounter on a daily basis.
right,
But
right.
I do have a little bit of a phobia since I was a child. And it's the silliest one. It's just worms.
Really?
They just, I don't know. I will tell you, growing up, we had an unfinished basement, but it also had the only shower in the house in it.
Oh,
And so I would have to shower down there, and I got out one time, and a worm was crawling up my leg, and it I was just a little kid, and it freaked me out.
that would do it. That would
It's
do
just one
it.
of those things. I know, it's just so random, but,
Core memory
yeah,
unlocked. Like that would
yeah. My
definitely do
kid
it.
my kids, when they eat gummy worms, I'm just like,
Yeah. Oh, oh, no, no,
even
no, no,
that, I'm
no,
like, "Nope,
no.
I don't wanna look at them."
No, no, no. For the longest time, I didn't like gummy food until I discovered Sour Patch Kids. I was
Oh,
kind of late to the game on that. And now I love Sour Patch Kids like so much. But aside from that, for me, a scary animal is just right now, and it's one specific animal. It's one specific killer raccoon that I
I
have
was
to
wondering,
keep.
yeah.
It's just this one. And what makes me so mad is like, I can't prove it, but I just know it's true. Is late in the spring, we were doing yard cleanup, and two baby raccoons fell out of a tree.
Mm,
And my daughter Georgie found them. And so, of course, my animal loving children, we got a ladder, we put them back up in the hole in the tree, we made sure that they were safe, we checked on them, right? And so then when we were trying to move the killer raccoon, we didn't catch the raccoon, we caught the two babies. And
mhm.
so of course we let them go. And then so I now have it in my mind that I'm like, I saved your babies, lady. Like
Yeah,
I saved your babies. I put them back in the tree. And
right?
now you're murdering my chickens. Like
Hmm,
we have to come to some kind of an
right.
agreement.
She probably thinks you're just like the most awesome provider. You saved my babies,
Right.
you're raising us some chickens. This is a great
Yes.
place,
Right. Everybody move in.
right?
Let's go to Jolene and Darren's house. Yeah. So my scary animal is one specific raccoon. And
Very.
and we have alarms set. We have timers on our phones, like
Mm,
because our chickens are free range and they're okay during the day. It's at night. It's at night that they
oh,
sneak in there. And so anyway,
yeah,
one specific raccoon. But
yeah.
my friend Kathy in the comments earlier, she suggested that I make the raccoon squishy so that I can come to peace
There you go.
with this whole with this whole situation. All right, here's another one for you. So you are an artist, an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, a designer. So what does all of that mean to you that your whole business side of your existence is about artistry?
It is. That's a great question because it can be really hard to balance, right? There's
Yeah.
times when I just have to spend the day negotiating and, sending emails and things like that.
Mhm.
But for me, it means at the end of the day, I'm going to turn all that off and just really stop and focus on what I'm doing. And that's sitting down and actually creating the crochet. And
Mm.
to me, that's where things really flow. That's the part I look forward to. That's the part that almost doesn't feel like work still,
Yeah.
except for the deadlines. But I wish I could do less rushing. But I think that it kind of it goes back to we were talking about perfectionism earlier. There's going to be
Mhm.
experiments and there's going to be failed experiments. And I think that's part of art as well. I think being an artist means giving yourself permission to do those experiments and permission to fail and permission to make a project and say, huh, that didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. But that's okay. I learned something new in the process
Mhm.
and, maybe somebody else will love it. And it's so for me, it's an interesting art in that while I express myself a little bit in everything I make, you have to have that separation. As an artist, you can't have other people's opinions about your
Mhm.
projects affect your own opinions too much. It's the balance of I want to make things that other people like and that they want to make, but at the same time, I need to realize not everybody's going to like everything that I make, and that's okay.
Right.
So I think that, yeah, it's a hard balance because you have the artist temperament, take everything personally and very
Yes.
emotionally, and having to put up a little bit of that and say, it's okay if you don't like it. It's not for everybody, but it
Right.
was for me.
I was watching a video, I don't know, in the last couple days, and it was about how like artists, like does an artist sit down and go, at this moment I am going to make grand art, right? Like do we sit
Yeah.
down and we're like this is the moment where
Yeah.
it will be amazing? Or do we play and explore? And in
Hmm.
that exploration and play, we
Hmm.
discover new things that we like or we want to try. And, it's a question I get all the time. I get, Joleen, how do you come up with this? Joleen, you are so creative. How come you're so creative and I'm not creative? And I honest to goodness believe that creativity is a practice.
Hmm.
And it is, I wouldn't be if I didn't try, right? Like I
Absolutely.
have so much more I want to do and explore now because I play more and I experiment more and I
Oh, for
push
sure.
and and I try, but I don't necessarily sit down with this is the moment in which
Yeah.
greatness will happen. It
Oh,
doesn't
for
happen
sure.
that way. It
Yeah.
surprises me when greatness does happen,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, no, there's a project I'm working on right now for a trip coming up.
Mhm.
And I sat down with one particular stitch pattern in mind and I started working it and I loved it. But then I had another idea
Right.
and then another idea. And
Yes.
I'm going with the
Yes.
third one. But but I'm
Right.
still setting aside those first two for something else. So,
Yes.
yes, the more I create, the more ideas I have. I really do feel, yes, creativity is a muscle.
Yeah.
And the more you work it, the more ideas are going to come
Right.
for
This
sure.
like the stronger it gets, basically.
Mhm.
Well, and I think too that like in my world of, working with paper or visual journaling or art journaling, a lot of times we get the, well, what are you going to do with it? Like, what is
Mhm.
it? Like, what, it's almost like a sketchbook. Like, what is it?
Right.
And I think that, I like to help people explore that sometimes it's just for you and it's in the play and in the creativity. So,
Mhm.
maybe you'll do something in a visual journal that will lead you to, develop the tools and the skill set to then put it on a canvas, right?
Yes.
Like they're just opportunities for playgrounds, it's the
Absolutely.
only
And you
way I
never
can.
know what's going to spark that next idea
Right,
for
right.
sure.
You never know. So, Tamara, is there a profession other than the one that you have right now that you would like to
Mm.
attempt? Like,
Oh
do you ever
gosh.
just go, if I could be a bloop bloop, that's what I would be.
Oh, I do that all the time. I am
Yeah,
one of those people. I love seeing like the behind the scenes of things.
yeah.
If I can see how things are made, I have often said if I could do like almost every job for a day, I
Right.
would
Just a
love it.
dabble.
I
Mhm,
love seeing how like behind the scenes, inside the kitchen,
mhm,
into the back room, literally even just in like retail establishments. Ooh, I saw the back room. I love that. So
mhm.
I love doing everything. I will tell you what, if it paid appropriately,
Yeah.
I would love to just go back into retail. I love just
Whoa.
I think it's a lot of what I do now. I love just helping people find what they want, find what they
Mhm.
love. I was an optician for a couple years helping people pick out their glasses. That was so much fun. They came in, they wanted to buy glasses. I didn't have to talk them into it.
Right.
Which does help. But I don't wanna do high pressure sales or anything like that, but I just
Right.
love helping people find things that make them feel good. And I think it's kind of similar to what I do now, I suppose, but,
Oh, definitely.
of course, retail workers, we all know, are not paid for what
Right.
they're worth and what they put up with, so, but
Bless them.
yeah, oh,
Bless them.
for sure.
So is there one that you're just like, nope, nope, I don't want to do that. That is not a job for me.
Anything gross.
Right.
Anything gross. I mean, I'm so glad there are those plumbers who do the dirty jobs and all that stuff,
Yes.
but it's not for me.
Yes. No,
So,
I'm with you. I am so with you. I also like I don't remember when it happened, but somewhere along the way, a guest in our home recommended to Darren and I that we watch this reality series called Below Deck. Have you heard of
okay.
this?
I've heard of it, but I haven't
It's
seen it.
it's a reality show based on yachting and,
Mm,
being on a yacht with, folks with a lot of disposable income, and it's about the crew that tend to them.
okay.
And we watched this show, and I now know that I don't want to have anything to do with a yacht. Like, that
No.
just, it sounds hard
Yeah.
and miserable. And what gets me is they're on these beautiful, luxurious boats, but their quarters are like the size of a closet, and
Yeah.
they like are literally on top of each other. So just watching them in their rooms, I feel claustrophobic, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, yep, nope, that's a job that does not have Joleen written all over it. Like,
Right?
nope,
Oh
nope, nope,
gosh.
wide open spaces.
I think too, it's crazy. I don't know if this is true for you, but I feel like if I actually had to go back to a regular like 9 to 5 where
Oh,
I like had a boss telling me I couldn't go do something, that would be really hard for me at this point.
that
I've
would
got to be
be
honest. And I know
so
I've done it, but going
no.
back to that now, it's
That would
hard to
Darren
imagine.
and I have this little joke between us that we now realize that we are unemployable because we've been the boss, for so long that it's like
Exactly.
I don't know that I could be in the employ of someone else because of how I am now
Yep.
made.
Yeah, for sure. I'd be like, "What do you mean? What are you telling me I can't go do this right now? This is what I'm
Right.
gonna go
Like,
do. I'll be back."
right. You mean I'm not going to have lunch at 1 and play, 3 rounds of backgammon with my husband?
Right?
What?
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
Right? I
Yeah.
need to run some errands and start some laundry. I'll be back.
Yeah,
It'll be
I'm
fine.
completely unemployable. I get that. I get
Yeah.
that. All right. So, one more question for you. So, since we are a show about happiness, Tamara, what brings you the most
Oh
happiness?
gosh. It's funny because I am what I've recently learned in the past couple years is called, I think, an extroverted introvert.
Oh, sure.
So I really need that balance. Like this last weekend when I was at the CGOA conference around all these people and, we were all really into it and crochet and everything was great. That really fed my soul. But
Yeah.
then, now I'm so glad I'm home for the next month and I
Yeah.
get to spend time with my family, and that makes me so happy too, having that free time. So I need those little trips out to be among, the crochet people, but I think I find my most happiness in those little moments of quiet then in between at home where I can
Mhm.
really enjoy and
Mhm.
appreciate being at home with my family.
I love that language, the quiet in between. I feel like that's a whole theme, and like I could do a whole lot with that. And
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. And I think that as I said, I'm a Gen Xer, and at this stage in my life, like other than my family, I love you guys very much. But other than them, I would say that this life of being in a crafty space and talking about art and craft and handwork and the joy that comes from it, and then the community that
Mm.
comes from it. Oh my gosh, I hit the jackpot. I just love these women. I love these
Yes.
people. Sometimes we have fellas, but most often it's women.
Mhm.
But I just love this community so much. I get such a charge and a kick out of it. And I'm so grateful. I'm so
Yes.
grateful for
Yeah.
them. They're just wonderful. So it's the people.
It
It's the people.
is. Yes.
Mhm.
These crafty
Absolutely.
communities are such unique spaces. It's
Aren't they?
genuinely not like anything else I've encountered anything in my
Mhm.
life,
Mhm.
school, work, home, anything like that. You just don't get these really women-led, women-filled
Yes.
spaces like this, and it is so unique, and like you say, it's really recharging.
Well, and don't you feel like too, like these are like for me, I can say without a doubt, like these are my people. Like
Mhm.
these are my people. Like when I look back at, did I hang out with the right crowd in high school, like my people? I don't really know. I think I was still kind of developing like who I am.
Mhm.
But like now I know for 1000% sure that I'm with my people. Like
Yes.
we have beaconing devices and we found one another and like we nerd out and love and support. Like they get
Mhm.
this passion, and we love talking about crafts and like
Yeah.
all the things we can make and all the things we can do, and I love it, love it, love it, love it. So
100%.
all right, well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you and your expertise and your time. I will link in our show notes all of the things that Tamara and I talked about, where you can find her over at the Moogly blog. um, is Scotland sold out?
Scotland is sold out,
Scotland
but,
sold out.
that one's sold
Okay.
out, that one's done. Well, there's just
Okay.
too much lead time. That one, when you're going overseas, there's
Yeah.
passports and paperwork, so
Yep. Yep.
have
Okay.
to
So
come to
Scotland
Minnesota now.
sold. Yep. Scotland sold out. Minnesota's still on the books, and that's
Yep.
October 23rd through the 26th. I'll be sure to link that in our show notes. So, Tamara, thank you
Thank
so
you so
much
much for
for
having
being
me.
here. Oh, my absolute pleasure. And I do hope you all will join me next time where Catherine Woodward Maynard will be my guest. And Catherine, kind of a big deal, just like Tamara. She's an author, a cartoonist, and a comics coach, known for her graphic novels that explore self-exploration, including her acclaimed adaptation of Tuck Everlasting. She's a Harvard grad and a former animator, and she writes the Creating Comics newsletter, helping artists create more and self-judge less, encouraging them one post at a time. So Catherine will be with me on August 6th here on the Happy Time Craftcast. So I hope you will join us. And until then, everybody, please stay happy. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.